And now, ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set and we are here. This is it. The time has come. I said the time has come. From the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring right here in Leeds, Yorkshire, England, the fight starts now! Introducing first, the challenger. He fights out of the red corner and wears the navy with gold lettering. He's scaled 8 stone, 12 pounds, 3 ounces. His professional record, 26 victories, 2 defeats, with 15 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former WBO International Featherweight Champion, presentando el hijo de Mexicali, Baja California, México. Damas y caballeros, Luis Alberto, el Venado Lopez. Lopez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He is the defending world champion. He wears yellow and blue. He scaled 8 stone, 13 pounds, 3 ounces. His professional record, 31 victories, 1 defeat, 1 draw, with 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former British champion, the former Commonwealth champion, the former European champion, and the 2-time and reigning and defending IBF featherweight champion of the world, fighting out of and proudly representing his home of Leeds, England, Josh, the Leeds Warrior, Warrington. Warrington.
So referee Bob Williams takes up residence in the middle of the ropes arena and brings both boxers together to issue the final instructions.
Okay lads, obey my commands. In the event of a knockdown, the fighter standing will go to the furthest neutral corner and stay there. Protect yourself at all times, touch gloves.
Well, the only blots on Josh Warrington's near-perfect 33-fight ledger were inflicted by an unheralded Mexican in the form of Mauricio Lara, who bludgeoned Warrington to his sole defeat behind closed doors during lockdown in London. Will history repeat itself as the unfamiliar but formidable Lopez looks to ruin Warrington's dreams of big unification bouts? Or will the raucous encouragement of a capacity home crowd inspire Warrington to victory and keeping undefeated on home turf and his dream of fighting in Las Vegas alive? Solid left jab landed by Josh Warrington in the first of his scheduled 12 rounds. He's wearing colours that are predominantly blue and yellow, the colours of his beloved Leeds United. It's the burgundy waistband with luminous yellow lettering featuring Josh on the front foot, wearing blue trunks that are trimmed with gold. Is the shorter Lopez winging punches from unconventional angles. It's Warrington, the taller boxer, by some 3 inches. But Lopez showing no fear or respect for the reputation or credentials. And he lands with a spearing left jab to the body, turns a right uppercut to the solar plexus. Defense is nowhere to be seen from Luis Alberto Lopez, who is winging in punches. There he scored with a left hook to the body. And Josh Warrington, so often an incredibly intelligent front foot pressure fighter, just keeping his composure, tucking up behind high-held hands. There he comes forward behind a stiff double jab, and then he fires a right-hand lead, followed by a looping straight left. So approaching the midpoint of this opening round, and again Lopez literally turning his back on his opponent, running away counterclockwise before resuming his boxing stance as the 2 boxers just operating on the edge of range. Looping left hook cannons into the gloves of Josh Warrington, followed by a roundhouse right which was blocked, and then a left hand did get through the gap from Lopez, but he's paying absolutely no attention to what may be coming back as he's winging that roundhouse right, landing with the inside of the glove, and altogether more correct with textbook straight punches comes Josh Warrington walking forwards, penetrating the defenses of Lopez with a double left jab right cross. There's another beautiful double left jab from Warrington once again, altogether more compact and precise and correct. Solid left jab from Warrington off the back foot, swivels the head of Lopez sideways. Lopez winging forwards once again behind sweeping hooks, inaccurate with his work, but there's no denying his intent. Decibel level already approaching maximum here at the First Direct Arena as Josh Warrington near the centre of the boxing ring, looking to counter with a left hook to the body, right hook to the head. Lopez is like a man drawing on a bow and arrow when he scores with his left jab, because his right hand comes down by his belt line. Warrington will be downloading this information as he parries the left jab effectively with his right glove. His defenses altogether more tight and correct. Left jab to the body scores by Lopez. The right uppercut which followed was off the mark by some distance. Lopez winging in a left hook which was caught by the gloves of Josh Warrington, scores with the right hand to the body. Warrington then parried the two shots that were winged in around the corner and finishes the two-shot salvo. Right, left jab, right hook, scoring over the low-held left of Lopez. Lopez continuing to disregard the coaching manual and winging punches from around his belt line. But for my money, Josh Warrington's more correct, accurate punching, enough to take that round. There's reddening around his left nostril. Barry Jones, your thoughts at the end of the first?
Yeah, it was a tight round. I just thought Lopez just didn't have to nick that round. But I don't think the Warrington corner would be too upset, because it was all about staying safe and seeing how Lopez reacted after he threw the shots, because Warrington was always going to come firing out with straight punches, which he did, and just though he knows how Lopez reacts to that, he can start building on momentum from that, I think.
This is the first time I've seen Lopez fight live, and although I knew he had an elusive style and he shoots from the hip at times, I didn't actually realise how elusive and flamboyant he was in his style. Obviously, people at home can't see it, they're listening to this, but trust me, he's throwing shots from the hips and from the waist. He throws an unorthodox jab and then wings a big right uppercut from down his knees. And if one of these shots lands, I'm sure Josh Warrington's going to feel it. Really exciting and good to watch.
So into the second round we go. Both boxers were up off their stall early to answer the bell, and it's Josh Warrington out onto the front foot, setting up residence in centre ring and firing out straight punches. But there's a double left jab, roundhouse right to the body from Lopez, who at the end just floats around almost like a video game character to wind up in the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. Now he's back to centre ring, coming forward behind the left jab. His right hand this time is cocked against his chin, locked against his chin with his elbow, with his right elbow clamped to his torso. It's Josh Warrington, content to remain on the perimeter of the roped arena, now turns the tables and puts Lopez on the ropes, but Lopez, his chin in the air, now he flashes his gum shield in a contemptuous grin in the direction of Josh Warrington. Scores with a left jab to the body, but now it's Warrington going to work on the inside, scoring with bent-on punches to the ribcage of the challenger before firing a right hand over the top. Referee Bob Williams separated the two boxers, and now the action is just on the edge of the centre of the boxing ring. Warrington now with his back touching the ropes on the far side of the ring. Lopez jabbing his way in, roundhouse left landed with the forearm from Josh Warrington, and then Warrington going in with his head down once again, and we know that's a characteristic of how he fights. Lopez, with his habit of keeping his chin up in the air on the resumption, fires a left jab to the body and a bowling right uppercut that came up in straight arm fashion from around his knees. Didn't find the range with either shot as the two boxers trying to work their way in. Left jab followed by a winging roundhouse uppercut to the body from Lopez. Leaping left hook, leaping left hook from Lopez is caught effectively by the right glove of Warrington. He comes forward and lands with a right hand to the body beneath Lopez's left elbow. Lopez complaining about the heads coming together once again. Lopez now looking like a conventional boxer, wide-legged stance, and the heads have come together violently. Lopez has turned away. Referee Bob Williams has called time. And again, we mentioned that coming in with the head low is a characteristic of how Josh Warrington fights. He cut Kiko Martinez in their rematch last time out, and the eye of Lopez has been damaged. Remember, in the rematch with Maurizio Lara, it was a clash of heads that caused an early curtailment to the contest because the cut caused the bout to be stopped. And Lopez is in the neutral corner just above us, and he is absolutely livid because he's sustained an eye injury that is being caused by an accidental clash of heads. Referee Bob Williams has called time, and the action resumes. A sporting touch of gloves proffered by Josh Warrington, but by leading with his head once again, coming in with it low, he's inflicted another cut on the opponent by an accidental clash of heads. So if this bout does not make it beyond the conclusion of round number 4, the bout will be declared a technical draw, a no contest, and it is bleeding rather profusely. 30 seconds remaining in this second round, an incident-filled round, where the left optic of Luis Alberto Lopez has been opened up by the head of Josh Warrington. So Lopez dealing with that adversity, as well as a determined champion in front of him. Warrington fires in a left hook, which is off the mark, and then he just walks back Lopez to the ropes just above our commentary position, and Lopez is still upset. He's shaking his head frustratedly, left blood streaking down the left-hand side of his face. 10-second clapper has sounded, and immediately, well, Lopez fixes Warrington with a glare. He's still shaking his head, and he looks such a frustrated fighter up there in the ring, having had a cut opened up by the champion's head.
Listen, he said it himself earlier, it's not a tickling contest. These things happen. Josh Warrington's coming with a on a replay. It was an accidental clash of heads. The heads do come together, and it was an accident. The referee has to look at that. The referee's not penalised Josh Warrington because it wasn't intentional. Lopez has got a wide arm style. He's got no defence. His arms are down by his waist. He's winging in big shots. Josh Warrington comes forward in straight line, straight through the middle. He leans down with his head to protect his own face, and these things happen. Lopez has just got to get on with it and just suck it up, really.
Well, the problem he has now, though, is that cut's, it doesn't look like it's going to be easily stemmed, and if it starts going into the eye, then we're going to get the thing we don't. It's a nasty gash as well, more than just a little slit there. It's a big wide open cut. They're packing it full of Vaseline, but I don't feel that's going to be enough.
So into the third round we go, and Lopez's corner were working furiously on that injury to the left eye. It's in a really bad position, right on his eyelid, coming down towards the outside of the left eye in a crescent moon shape. Warrington tucking up behind high-held gloves, springing forward with feints, trying to draw a lead that he can counter. Bombing right hand over the top. He's blocked by the left glove of Josh Warrington, and it's Warrington keeping his composure in the face of these single shot attacks. For what it's worth, Lopez is altogether more conventional. He does have this wrinkle to his game. He's not always unconventional and freestyling. There he comes forward with a right uppercut, followed by a left jab. He missed by some distance with both shots. He lands a right hand to the body, but he's countered immediately by a long left hook from Josh Warrington. And again, his punches take such a long route to the target that it's going to present opportunities for Warrington, who scores effectively to the body with a right hand once again. The action is in the center ring. Left jab to the body, followed by a right uppercut from Lopez, were evaded by Josh Warrington, who was again able to counter effectively with a short right hand direct to the torso of Lopez. On the resumption after the intervention of referee Bob Williams, left jab thrusted out by Lopez, and a solid left hook landed by Josh Warrington. And again, it's Lopez grinning and mugging, bearing that gum shield as he's being roughed up by Warrington on the inside. And he's complaining to the referee Bob Williams about the roughhouse tactics of the champion. Referee Bob Williams tells him to get on with it, and the action is in the center of the boxing ring. Lopez coming forward behind a left jab. As he's thrusting out that left jab, his chin is going up in the air, and his right hand is dropping to around his pec. And then he exaggeratedly dipped at the waist, drew his right hand back, and then fired an uppercut which was evaded rather comfortably by Josh Warrington. Beautiful straight right hand landed by Lopez around the rear of the left glove of the champion. Then he came back with a left hook to the head which was blocked, scored with a left hook to the body. Left jab through the middle, prompts a response from Warrington, who comes forward behind 3 left jabs before landing with an overhand right over the left hand of Lopez as he was looking to counter. So two-way action deep into this second round, and Lopez, is as though his mind still isn't on the job as he lands a left hand which goes way below the belt. Warrington intimates as such by tapping his protective cup, but then Lopez says, well, hold on a minute, you've just opened me up. This is the fight game that we're in. Good left jab to the body, followed by a flashing right uppercut from Lopez. The right uppercut was evaded as Josh Warrington employed the layback. Solid left jab landed by Lopez from around his belt line. Sneaky right hook followed by a left uppercut were both caught by the gloves of Warrington. Warrington comes forward and lands with the right hand during an exchange on the inside. headlock applied by Luis Alberto Lopez, who is some 3 inches shorter at 5'4" compared to the 5'7" of Josh Warrington. Snaking left jab through the guard from Lopez, followed by a left hand to the body and a right hand, which almost got around the rear of Warrington's left glove. Dipping below the waistband is Lopez. That's illegal, of course, but it did put him out of the way of the straight punches that Warrington was attempting to fire in. Barry Jones, your thoughts on that third round?
Well, I thought Lopez finished really strongly, but I still thought the first half of the round, for me, I thought Warrington's neater, more direct work. He was busier to start that round there, Josh Warrington, for me. Hands nice and high. He always has to keep those hands around the temple, those elbows tucked in nice and tight, because any shot remotely gets on the target, and he feels it. And they're coming from wide angles, up through the middle. He's hard to read, is Lopez. But I did feel that throughout most of that round, I think Josh Warrington was neater, more effective. But, as always, he split off the gas just ever so slightly, and Lopez took over in the end. So it's a good fight to watch, actually, but it's also a tricky fight.
Yeah, I like the style of Lopez, very entertaining, great to watch, but he fights like a puncher, and his record doesn't suggest that. From his 26 wins, you know, he's had 15 KOs, so he's got about a 50% knockout ratio. So I don't think Warrington will be too bothered by these shots.
So into the fourth round we go. Josh Warrington out to centre ring, moving forward in exaggerated fashion over his front foot. He was peppered by a fusillade of punches by Lopez on the back foot. Lopez spinning off to his left in clockwise fashion, and now it's Lopez on the front foot looking to back up Warrington towards a neutral corner on the far side of the ring. Warrington giving his man angle, spins back to the space of centre ring, bobbing and weaving, counter left hook was a check hook from Warrington, catching Lopez. He attempted to retreat. Left jab scored by Warrington. The right cross that he followed with went around the rear of Lopez's neck. And Lopez again starting that combination with a terrific left jab through the body. He fired a fusillade of punches, bent arm shots, and again ended the flurry with a left jab. Lopez getting himself in a tangle, turning his back on his opponent, running away from the advancing Josh Warrington. He then concluded that bit of escapology by looking in Warrington's direction and flashing a contemptuous grin once again. And then he, on the resumption, it's a left hand followed by a right, which was cannoned off the glove of Josh Warrington. Nice parry with the right glove of Josh Warrington of the left glove of Lopez. Lopez again dipping beneath the belt line, causing Warrington to miss. And again, he throws shots from such unexpected, unconventional angles that it must be very difficult to prepare for a fighter who is such an unusual box of tricks. Left jab, right hand to the body, and then a flashy right uppercut from Lopez was partially blocked by the gloves of Warrington, but it still landed sufficiently, even though the defenses of Warrington were secure. We're beyond the midpoint of this fourth round. The two boxers locking up toe-to-toe at centre ring. Warrington looking to toss his man towards the ropes on the far side of the ring and then get busy with his right hand. Lopez content to fight his way off the strands. He looked to walk his way off, but then Warrington lowered the shoulder into the sternum of Lopez and bulldozed him back into that confined position. Good right hand to the body from Lopez is countered by a right hand to the body from Warrington. The action is approaching the blue corner on the far side of the ring. Single right hand over the top from Warrington is countered by a left jab from Lopez. And now the boxers engage in a clinch on the inside. Referee Bob Williams intervenes immediately. Lopez clears his nostril by holding the right nostril and blowing out of the left before getting back on his toes and flicking out a jab which is coming from his belt line now. He tried a left uppercut before blocking a left hook that came in his direction with the right glove. Warrington bringing an increase in volume from the crowd as he was getting busy with his hands, but good defenses from Lopez, who performed the salute by putting his right glove up to his temple to ward off the incoming fire from the left flank of Josh Warrington. Right hand success from Lopez before Warrington forces his way back inside, and again Lopez continuing in the habit of grinning and laughing out audibly. We can hear him here ringside at the First Direct Arena as the 10-second clapper sounds. It's Warrington with his back near the ropes. Lopez trying to launch an attack, but his right hand goes over the top of Josh Warrington's head, and Luis Alberto Lopez is cutting a manic figure in this contest because he's going from grinning to fixing him with a stone-faced glare, roughing him up, running away. Very difficult to box a man like this, but it's an competitive contest thus far.
Well, he's so hard to read, isn't he? Because you just don't know what you're trying to read the fighter's rhythm as the rounds go on. So you know how you're gonna approach the next round. With him, you don't know what you're gonna get round by round. He changes in that round, for instance. He started really fast, took his foot off the gas a little bit, and then finished strong again. But the punches come from so unorthodox and unusual angles. how to defend against him. Now, Josh is doing the right thing by just keeping his hands high, elbows tucked in, but he needs to be more direct with the punches, Josh. Stronger, straighter shots.
10 seconds, guys. Second time. Round 5.
So we go into the 5th round. Both boxers just circling one another in clockwise fashion. It's Lopez who has begun as the aggressor. Josh Warrington bracketing his head with his hands on the back foot, just edging towards his blue corner. Right hand, left jab was attempted by Lopez, and now Warrington content to play counter-puncher. And it's again punches being winged in from around the belt line from Lopez, who quickens his feet, goes forward in a straight line, not really having any effective offense, but he's keeping Warrington occupied with his activity with his hands. Standing in punching range with his chin up in the air, fires a left jab, right hook, missed with both, and now he's keeping the left jab going before scoring with a right cross through the middle of Josh Warrington's defenses. Warrington comes back with punches underneath, double right hand to body then head. Both shots were off the mark before Warrington walks his opponents towards the neutral corner on this near side of the ring. Referee Bob Williams separates the two. Minute gone in this 5th round, and it's beyond punching range in the middle of the boxing ring. Warrington circling counterclockwise, circumnavigating the ring to his right before changing direction and moving laterally to his left. He's now over by his blue corner. Beautiful counter left hook from Josh Warrington after blocking the body shot that was fired in by Lopez. He landed a left hook which swiveled the head of the Mexican challenger, but Lopez showing no effect to the punches, and again his manic activity continues. There he produces an exaggerated shoulder roll, protecting his chin with his shoulder before launching with a left hook right hand to the head of Warrington, but neither shot found the range. Beautiful counter right hand landed once again from Warrington. Lopez with his hands down by his belt line, hard right hand fired in, followed by a looping left hook. His arm was almost straight. He ended up landing with a slap on the defensive of Warrington before Warrington takes him back to the far side of the ring and puts him on the ropes. Lopez gets himself out of there, the two heads rubbing together vigorously on the inside. Warrington looking for a double right hand, body then head, as the two men stand toe to toe. Good left hand sunk into the body by Warrington. He's countered immediately by Lopez, but Warrington keeps his attack going to get the better of this trade-off. 50 seconds remaining in this 5th round. The action was near the neutral corner turnbuckle on the far side of the ring. Referee Bob Williams got the boxers back beyond punching range. Warrington looking for a right hand over the top but didn't find a mark, but then an altogether shorter right hand did land for Warrington, followed by a left hook. Lopez trying a left hook counter but can't find the range, making it a good portion of the round for the champion. Double right hand in forms of hooks and uppercuts fired in by Lopez. He did land with a good left hook to the body and kept the right hand attack going. Warrington, aware of that, got back on the front foot to let his own hands go before blocking an attempted left hook with his right glove. Roughhouse tactics being applied by Warrington, bulldozing Lopez to the ropes on the far side of the ring. Referee Bob Williams allowed the men to work away before Lopez applied a headlock with his left arm. Right hand fired in twice, turned into a right uppercut, then a left hook from Lopez to end the round. And Lopez just swaggers back to his corner after he was given a quick nod of respect by Josh Warrington before he retreated to the blue corner. Carl Froch.
You're right, Lopez did swagger back to his corner, and he's got an almost nonchalant look about his style and the way he swaggers around the ring. But unfortunately for Lopez, Warrington's outworking him. He's realised, Warrington has, that this kid's awkward. Lopez has got these awkward, unorthodox styles, punches from angles, unconventional style. You don't really see his punches coming, but there's not enough substance to Lopez's work. He's not busy enough, and he's not landing any really effective shots. So Warrington's closed the gap, made the fight a little bit messy and roughhouse, doing exactly right thing to do. As the champion, he's making it rough and rugged, and I think he'll be impressing the judges.
Warren might not be the biggest puncher in the division, but he might be the strongest, and he's using that strength to lean and push Lopez and just trying to tire him out, so he just reduces that power and that erraticness movements of his, and he's starting to take over a little bit here possibly.
So we go into the 6th round. Mention the fact that Lopez is coming in on a 9-fight winning streak. There's a beautiful counter left jab from Josh Warrington after a left hook from Lopez was blocked by the right arm of the champion. But as well as that, in that 9-fight winning streak, he's coming in on 3 consecutive KOs. And when he's been able to land with these pot shot singles from seemingly out of range, well, they're not having any effect on the champion here tonight, and one wonders what tricks will that begin to play in the mind of the challenger. There he scores with the right uppercut off the ropes, but it's another marauding attack being launched by Josh Warrington, who is keeping Lopez pinned there. And Lopez, remember, 3 inches shorter, slightly lighter on the scales, both men comfortably inside the 126-pound or 9-stone featherweight limit, but Warrington imposing his physical strength and not allowing Lopez any room to get his punches off. Warrington with his left forearm and bicep in the chest and torso of Lopez and digging away with the right hand. And Lopez doubled over by a body shot fired in by the left arm of Josh Warrington. Left hand responds to the body with the palm turned upward from Lopez. But now Warrington really imposing his physicality through the first half of this 6th round. Referee Howard Foster separated the two, and that gives Lopez some space to get his punches off, and he's looking for the pot shot singles once again. He bit down on his bottom lip as he fired in a right hook which landed on the left bicep of Josh Warrington, but then on the resumption after referee Howard Foster intervened, a spearing left jab got in between the high-held gloves of Josh Warrington. There's the left jab of Lopez once again after Warrington scored with a good left hook, and after beginning the first minute of this round on the front foot, Warrington just taking a breather, giving Lopez room, and Lopez, after the boxers got beyond punching range, held his chin up in the air like a weather vane, and Warrington, using all his experience, tagged it with a 2-shot salvo. There's another left hook which crashes in for Josh Warrington. Right uppercut on the inside from Lopez, who is grinning during the course of this ferocious exchange between champion and challenger. And again, how do you read the unconventional style of Luis Alberto Lopez? Because the punches that Warrington landed were chin checkers indeed, but rather than showing any signs of distress, Lopez fairly grinned and giggled his way through the shots that Warrington landed. Good left hand to the body from the challenger, doubles over Warrington momentarily, but he regains his boxing stance and gets back onto the front foot. Final 20 seconds of this 6th round, and it's interesting that Lopez was brought back into this contest as he lands a good right hand, but he's countered by a left hook, right hook combination from Warrington. But Lopez back into this round when he took his foot off the gas and got on the back foot rather than the marauding success he enjoyed on the front foot for the first minute of the round. An interesting 6th stanza of boxing. Let's head over to the blue corner and listen to Josh Warrington's father and trainer, Sean O'Hagan.
Just getting a little bit careless with his kid hanging over. He's getting a lot of boxing. How's it go? All right. Joe? Yeah, you used to bother him.
There was a massive little round there. It was just a little exchange of words. The referee didn't really break him, and Lopez just stood up waiting to get hit. So Warren did the right thing and he hit him with some good shots. Lopez took him well, and that ignited the fire in Lopez, and he fired back with some hard and crisper combinations. They are tit for tat for a minute. They were exchanging blows in equal measure.
I think Lopez is fascinating to watch. He'll sit in front of Warrington. Like I said earlier, he's talking to Warrington and he's just getting his head out of the way of these punches. But unfortunately for him, some of the punches are landing and Warrington's nicking these rounds. Lopez looks like he's got so much more to give. He's so confident, he bounces around the ring, he's smiling, but there's not enough substance to his work.
So halfway through this contest, as Warrington lands a right hook while the sound of the bell was still reverberating here at the First Direct Arena. 6 rounds completed, a potential 6 rounds to go, as both boxers momentarily planting their feet in the ring canvas and winging hooks around the corner. They were out of range, and again referee Bob Williams separated the two. Neither boxer took a step back, and it was Lopez who was contemplating launching a sneak attack to catch Warrington unawares, but he didn't pull the trigger. Right hook is a beautiful shot around the corner from Josh Warrington, getting over the left glove of Lopez, and then Lopez, while he was firing, had his chin checked once again by a left hook from Josh Warrington, and he's paying absolutely no regard to defense, is Lopez, during this passage of the round, sticking his chin up in the air, and Warrington tagged it cleanly with a solid left hook. Minute gone in this 7th round as Lopez crouches at the knees beneath the belt line of Josh Warrington and sprung up like a jack in the box with a corkscrew right uppercut, but he couldn't find a range. It's Lopez on the front foot as Josh Warrington moving counterclockwise to his right. His back touched the ropes. Beautiful right hand lands by Josh Warrington, stops Lopez in his tracks, but then he comes out of that momentary period of stasis and fires back with a right hook of his own. Exchanges center ring before Lopez ties up his man just to gain some respite. He was stopped dead in his tracks by a beautiful shot from Josh Warrington, but now he resumes the conversation once again. I'm not sure about the extent of Josh Warrington's Spanish or indeed Lopez's English, but he's chirping constantly in the ear of the champion, trying to unruffle him, trying to unsettle him. There he looks for another Hollywood right uppercut once again, but it only finds the forearms of Josh Warrington, who closed that avenue of opportunity by bringing his gloves together. There he looks for the corkscrew uppercut once more, followed by a left jab. But again, Warrington's defenses remaining sound as he's keeping alert and keeping the head movement going and closing his gloves together. Beautiful counter left hook from Warrington as Lopez fired in a left hand to the body. There Warrington looks for a double left hook once again. Both boxers feeling the pace with 2 minutes 20 seconds gone in this 7th round. They both exchange a grin as Lopez gets back on the front foot after the intervention of referee Howard Foster. Josh Warrington getting physical once more to ragdoll Lopez into the ropes on the far side of the ring. Now Lopez turns the tables and it's Josh Warrington who catapults off the strands, peering between high-held gloves. Left jab to the body from Lopez was followed by a flashy right uppercut, but the uppercut was off the mark. Warrington remaining concentrated. There, Lopez looking for the right uppercut once again. He must be expending such tremendous energy by launching that shot from around his kneecap. And any boxer will tell you that it's far more tiring to fire and miss than it is to fire and land on anything of your opponent. Burst of activity from Lopez was more eye-catching than effective. But another physical, competitive round in that 7th frame, Barry Jones.
It wasn't in the last few rounds. It's been Warrington pushing the pace, even though he's been having to take a few shots, pushing the pace, trying to push Lopez back, trying to keep him off balance so he hasn't. But this time, in this round, Lopez took the initiative. For me, I thought he went forward, he had to take a few shots, but I thought the quality in his work, for me, was far better. And I think he needed that round just to get a footing back into the fight, because it might be tight on the scorecards, but it felt like the fight might be slipping away with him on sheer work rate alone, Cal.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a better round from Lopez. Still a very close round. I actually scored that one for Lopez because he did land some of his eye-catching shots. I think he lacks power to have this style. If you're going to have this style, which is low-held guard, looking for single shots, you've got to be a bigger puncher than what Lopez is. So unless he ups the work rate, this fight's going to slip away from him because Warrington is firing on all cylinders. He's making it rough and he's doing very well, Warrington.
So we go into the 8th round. Remember, Luis Alberto Lopez suffered a cut left eye after an accidental clash of heads in round number 2. There's a swelling appearing on the left forehead of Josh Warrington, considerably above his eyebrows, but it's as though an egg has been inserted under his skin. It's coming up rather rapidly as well. We'll keep an eye on that from our ringside commentary position here at the First Direct Arena. Looking for the left jab is Josh Warrington, and it's Lopez now jittering, skitting left and right, cutting off the counterclockwise movement that Josh Warrington's trying to initiate. Warrington kept the movement going to get himself out of punching range, and then he's spearing out beautiful straight punches. 4 left jabs in a row followed by a right cross, but Lopez disregarding them and coming forward in a monster-like walk. Exaggerated steps where he's twisting his torso and planting his feet firmly into the canvas. No punches came from that exaggerated posture, but again, he must be such a difficult opponent to fight. There he lands with a right uppercut, but 2 left hooks land from Josh Warrington. The left was altogether more solid. Left hook lands to the body from Lopez, who again keeps his chin up in the air, his hands down by his belt line before landing with a short counter right hook. Such contrast in styles, such contrast in approaches. Warrington, textbook, front foot, intelligent pressure fighter, and Lopez, the box of tricks that is coming all from the recesses of his imaginative mind. Left jab lands from Josh Warrington before Lopez turns, spinning on his right foot to cause the follow-up right hand from the champ to be off the mark. Left hand was low from Lopez after he had a right hand success through the middle, and now there's nose damage increasing on Josh Warrington, blood coming from the left nostril. Both boxers breathing through mouths that are open beyond the midpoint of this 8th round. There's a clinch just above the red corner on this near side of the ring, but then Josh Warrington frees his hands and shovels in a hard left hand to the body. Lopez tries to counter with a left hook to the sternum before another physical tussle ensues. And it's Warrington who is walking the man backwards. We could reach out and touch him a couple of moments ago just above our commentary position before referee Bob Williams issued the command of break and step back. Double left hook dug in by Lopez landing on the ribcage of Josh Warrington, and the crowd here looking to rally their champion once again, fighting here at the First Direct Arena in Leeds for the 13th time in his professional career, the 17th time in his hometown of Leeds, undefeated here, turning this city into a fortress. He's looking to extend that ledger tonight as the action is just above the neutral corner on this near side of the ring. 20 seconds to go in this 8th round. Lopez fires a left hook as the cut around his left optic begins to leak once again. Blood trickling down the left-hand side of his face. Warrington tucking up tightly, walking forwards, but did take a left hook and right uppercut during that coming together. 3-shot flurry is off the mark from Lopez, just glancing the gloves of Josh Warrington. Warrington remaining defensively responsible, but spent a large portion of the conclusion of that round on the back foot.
I think for me that was another good round there for Lopez. No, he's picking his shots well. Those are unorthodox movements. He keeps changing his feet. And for me, I think Warrington's just taking a little bit too long to let his hands go. He almost like he wants to be in the perfect position before he unloads a barrage of punches. He had a bit of success in that round, but again, I think that waiting too long has caused him a few problems here.
Yeah, I think Lopez maintaining what he's doing, which wasn't quite enough early on, but now Warrington slowed down slightly, only ever so slightly. It's just catching the eye, I think, of the judges for Lopez's clean, crisp work, because he's so flash with his shots, and his shots come from so awkward angles. When he does land, you do think the oohs and ahs around the arena start to sound, and I think unless Warrington starts to close that gap again and starts to be busy, this second half of this fight could be slipping away from him. Still very close, though.
Second round, round 9.
So into the 9th round we go of a seesaw affair here at the First Direct Arena. Josh Warrington making the first defense in this, his second reign as the IBF featherweight champion of the world. The action is in the middle of the boxing ring, and it's Lopez now demonstrating his ability to be a straight shot sharpshooter, firing out that left jab as Warrington out of a crouch, tucking up behind his gloves, bustling his way forwards, looking to get on the inside. Lopez lets a left uppercut go after the intervention of the referee, and now referee Bob Williams has called time, brings both boxers together and has told both of them to stop the mauling and get back to the boxing. Time in called by referee Bob Williams. On the resumption, a right hook slammed into the ribcage of the challenger from Josh Warrington, and then he walks his way forwards and lands with a double left jab followed by a right hand. He's keeping the attack going, pinning Lopez to the ropes on the far side of the ring. Lopez looking over his shoulder and giggling through that gum shield once more. Warrington trying to get his hands free to dig away to the torso of the challenger, but Warrington being clamped like a vice by Lopez, who is continuing to talk in his direction. Solid left hook landed off the front foot by Josh Warrington, driving Lopez to the ropes at around the 9 o'clock position on the clock face. If you consider our position is 6 o'clock, right in the center of the rope square between the red corner and the neutral corner. Halfway through this 9th round, and it's Lopez on the front foot, digs in the left hand to the body, but only lands on the elbow of Josh Warrington. His right hand, Lopez, was caught by the gloves of the champion. Lopez momentarily applying a headlock, putting the head of Lopez beneath his left armpit, and now on the resumption, left hook fires into the defenses of Warrington once again from the challenger. It's another tussle on the inside. Neither man can get their hands free, but then Warrington does free his left hand and land a left hook to the body, followed by a right hook around the corner. And Lopez is wincing as he limps out of the clinch and claiming that he has been hit on his left glute by a right uppercut. Now, I don't think I've ever seen this before in the boxing ring. I've heard boxers complain about being punched on the hip. Remember, before the fight of the century at Madison Square Garden in March 71, Angelo Dundee told referee Arthur McCanty that Joe Frazier is to watch the hip punches. But here, referee Bob Williams has called time because Luis Alberto Lopez has complained that he's taken a shot not in the kidney, which is illegal, but on his left glute from a right hook from Josh Warrington, which is straight low. And I have never, ever seen that before in the boxing ring. He's been given time to recover because he has been hit by a low blow. But does this suggest that the wandering mind of Luis Alberto Lopez just betrayed him during that coming together? Referee has called time, the action resumed, and it's Josh Warrington looking to get busy, driving Lopez to the ropes at around 3 o'clock on the clock face, in between the red corner and the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. Lopez Oh, takes a beautiful left hook from Warrington after he scored with a straight right hand to the body, and it's a good portion of the round from Warrington. He's then smothered by Lopez, who is grinning in the direction of referee Bob Williams once again. The action was momentarily beyond punching range, and then a rabbit punch lands by Warrington, which puts Lopez in some distress. It was a right hook around the rear of the challenger's head, and now Lopez is complaining at every conceivable opportunity. Referee Bob Williams tells him to get on with it. He's got to keep his mind on the job and not the distractions, as referee Bob Williams calls time once again, tells both boxers to settle down. He's making a settle down gesture, a calm down gesture, pushing his palms to the floor before calling time. And that brings about the 10-second clapper here at the First Direct Arena. Lopez looking for a left jab. He's getting through the defenses of Warrington with it. Counter left hook by Warrington is a scoring shot as the two men exchange a baleful glare at the end of an incident-filled round. Barry Jones.
I don't know what confused me there. If he did get hit low, the referee never saw it. He just took Lopez's word for it and stopped the action. I'm not sure whether that's a rule that's allowed, but either way, regardless of that, Warrington was far busier before the action, before that break, and after the break. He had his most success. He flurried his straight, hard, clean shots, and that just pushed Lopez back and had him in trouble, Cal.
Well, Lopez complaining didn't do him any favours. He did get a 20-second breather, but Warrington was able to see a sign of weakness, and then he capitalised on that and really put pressure on Lopez, backed him up against the rope, and had some real good success. Real good, strong, solid round there from Warrington. And as we go into the last 3 rounds of this fight, the championship rounds, I feel like Warrington will be confident now going into these last 3 rounds, and Lopez is, I don't know if he's looking for a way out, but I don't want to see somebody complaining when they're challenging for a world title.
So we move into the 10th round after an incident-filled 9th frame, where Luis Alberto Lopez claimed that he was hit on the left glute by a right hook which strayed low from Josh Warrington. It's a very close contest. For my money, it's Warrington, the champion, who has his nose in front as he scores with a good left jab, skitting around the ring in clockwise fashion and leaping as he's firing in a left hook is Lopez, but he's not landing with it because he's been blocked by the defenses of Warrington, who then comes back with an altogether accurate, more direct left jab, which is a point-scoring punch in the face of these flailing shots from the challenger. Well, Lopez appears to have his mind back on the job here now. The two boxers fall into a clinch near the blue corner on the near side of the ring at around 11 o'clock on the clock face. Warrington again looking to ragdoll his man and throw him into the ropes. Referee Bob Williams is earning his corn tonight, having his hands full, keeping these boxers apart. Solid left hand slung into the body from Josh Warrington. Now the two boxers resting their head on the shoulder of their opponent while looking to dig away on the inside. Flashy right uppercut was off the mark from Lopez. Right uppercut, left hook lands from Warrington. And my goodness, this one is becoming increasingly attritional. The two boxers toe-to-toe, shoulder-to-shoulder at every opportunity. There's a flashy right hook that lands from Lopez, partially blocked by the left glove of Warrington, but it did find a home, landing as a scoring shot for Lopez. There he tried the shame shot once again, but he's well beyond punching range, and he's blocked by the left glove of Josh Warrington. That is up around his chin. Lopez being reduced to firing in speculative singles here now, as though he's looking for a single knockout shot. There he scores with a range-finding left jab. Warrington comes back with a left jab and left hook in the middle of the boxing ring. The two boxers lock up once again. Referee Bob Williams has to pry the two men apart like a human crowbar. Right uppercut lands from Lopez after he was off the target with a left hook to the body. His corner clapping him on as Lopez is put in a headlock by Josh Warrington beneath his left arm, and Lopez again complaining fervently in the direction of Bob Williams, trying bent arm shots, uppercuts from around his belt line, which were all caught by the gloves and forearms of Josh Warrington. And then there's a left jab which gets through for Lopez before his subsequent right hand was off the mark. And now it's Lopez tucking the arms of Warrington beneath his armpits to prevent the champ from working away. And as referee Bob Williams was issuing instructions, Lopez was letting his hands go, getting around the corner with a long left hook and a right hand, and now it's Warrington roughing him up on the inside and digging away with left hand to the body. There he lands with a left forearm, cuffing Lopez around his head in the middle of the boxing ring. 10-second clapper in the closing stages of this 10th frame spurs Lopez into action, driving Warrington back to the red corner on this near side of the ring, and a low blow is the final shot landed from Lopez. before taking a short walk back to his red corner. Carl Froch.
A little bit more success here from Lopez, getting a bit closer. Warrington maybe, making it very, very rough, but not really putting enough shots together. This is a really, really scrappy affair now. Both guys getting a bit tired in there. Both more than capable, both landing and throwing shots. No one's going to fall over, I don't think. This fight's got the distance written all over it as we're going to these last 2 rounds. I think Lopez maybe nicked that last round for me, but it was very close and very scrappy. It's one of them where if the judges are seeing something that we're not, and Lopez's clean work, they may be scoring it for him, but for me, Warrington's winning this fight, and he's doing it by being rough and by being busy.
I can see that, but I actually go the other way. It is over quality over quantity, and I just think the quality in some of Lopez's work just outweighs the busyness sometimes of Warrington.
We go into the championship rounds. 2 world champions here ringside, providing expert analysis and co-commentary here on 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sound, and that gives you an idea as how difficult, how competitive this contest is, because our 2 world champions are seeing it differently. For my money, it's the quality work of Josh Warrington, often behind his left jab when he chooses to find it, that is just giving him a narrow edge. But make no mistake, Lopez is very much in this contest. But again, he's going back to the modus operandi of winging in speculative singles. There he did score with a left jab and followed up with a right hook. Left jab gets through the defense of Warrington once again, but then there's an altogether sharper, rapier-like left jab from Warrington, immediately followed by a right cross. So the action is in the middle of the boxing ring. Right uppercut wasn't too far away from Lopez. The left hook was blocked, and it's Warrington bulldozing his way forwards once again. The 2 boxers toe-to-toe, flashing left hand, half hook, half uppercut. Fired in from around the belt line from Josh Warrington, lands on the chin of Lopez. And on the resumption, after the referee separated the 2 men, Lopez intimating to Josh Warrington that he's to bring it to him. Let's do this. And Warrington accommodates him by having double left hook success, followed by a mid-range right hand. Lopez complaining once again, gets back to work. The left jab was blocked. The roundhouse right got behind the left glove of Josh Warrington. And how much energy is Lopez expending, chirping sweet nothings into the ear of Josh Warrington. Referee Bob Williams tells him to cut out the conversation and get on with the contest. Action is near the blue corner on the far side of the ring. Josh Warrington edges way back to the space of ring center. Lead left hook followed by an overhand right is a successful combination from Warrington, followed by a left jab and a right hand to the body, all landed at mid-range from the champion. Lopez comes back with a left jab that was off the mark, but the right hand was altogether more solid. A clumping shot from around his ribcage landed by the challenger. There he landed a left hand to the body and went for the same right hand over the top once again. 50 seconds remaining in this penultimate round, and it's a coming together at center ring. Warrington looking to make it first and third boxing by having the first and final word during the coming together. Beautiful right hand sunk in just above the belt line from Josh Warrington. The palm was turned upwards and it sunk beneath the floating rib of the challenger. Double left hook from Warrington to body, then head, causes Lopez to cry in anguish, and he's crying out once again, taking these shots downstairs. Bizarre moments in this contest, but Warrington ignoring the distress signals coming from Lopez, remaining focused on his task, and drives his man back to the blue corner on the far side of the ring. Lopez emerges from the blue corner, shaking his head. He went through a really bad portion of the round there, which means that it was a terrific portion of the frame for Josh Warrington. Body shots, followed by chin-checking right hand. Strong conclusion to the round from the champion as we prepare to go into the final round. Barry Jones.
And what a round, and that's what champions do, Raul. That's what they do. When their backs up against the wall, when they've had maybe a bad round, they come out in this state in the fight and they put a round out like that. There's real quality work ethic there from Josh Warrington. Committed from as soon as the bell rang, he went out there and he put it right on Lopez, and it looked like Cal Lopez was gonna fade in a little bit.
Yeah, I want to say Lopez is inexperienced here, but he's not. He's had 28 fights, but he's not been in these predicaments where he's in against the world champion and he's being roughed up, and you're allowed to get rough as a champion. This isn't amateur boxing, this is professional fighting, and what the referee does, the referee lets you get away with the odd low blow, and the head butt can sneak in there, and the elbows, it can get messy and rough and tough in there, but Lopez doesn't like it, but it's no good if he doesn't like it. Nobody cares. He needs to get on with it, because I feel like he's thrown this away towards the end.
So referee Bob Williams insisting on a touch of gloves between the two. Is the most perfunctory touch of gloves, as Lopez, I don't think he's exchanging pleasantries with Warrington, barking in his direction, and I think he's complaining about the roughhouse tactics that the champion has applied. The action finally gets underway, and immediately the two boxers testing the strength of one another at close quarters once again. 20 seconds gone in this final round. For my money, Lopez needs a stoppage here, because Warrington has come on strong in the closing portion of this contest, rounds 10 and 11 in particular, and Lopez has got a big turnaround to find in the final 3 minutes. Warrington remaining concentrated, came in behind a left jab, couldn't find a range, and now the two boxers getting their arms in a tangle once again. Referee Bob Williams has called time, and he's speaking to Lopez in no uncertain terms about the headlock being applied with the right hand. Stern admonishment in the direction of the challenger. Time in called, and the action resumes. 2 minutes 10 seconds remaining in this final round. Josh Warrington on the resumption, digging away to the body of his opponent with his left hand in his right hand. Lopez aware that he's been put under pressure on the resumption, trying to fire back, but Warrington is crowding him, preventing him from having space to find a home for his shots. Action is near the neutral corner on his near side of the ring. Warrington is on the rampage, literally chasing his man from the neutral corner on this near side of the ring to the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. Referee Bob Williams separates the two boxers once again, and now they are in the space of centre ring. Left hand, right uppercut success for Lopez before referee Bob Williams has to pry the two men apart once more. Warrington closes the space, walks down his man, and the two men are smothering one another, cancelling out the work of the other before Warrington intelligently gets his right hand free and digs away to the body. There was a right uppercut counter in the middle of this exchange by Lopez before a left hand response to the body from Josh Warrington. Right hook was a speculative shot fired in by the challenger before another tangle ensues at close range once more. Bodies continuing to tie up on the inside, but it's Warrington finding the space to dig away to head and body, and a right hook where he chains Dangle magnificently in front of his man, getting around him to fire in an unseen right hook that just caused Lopez to become disorganized. Lopez claims his man by placing his arms around the lats of Josh Warrington before referee Bob Williams separated the two. Final 40 seconds of this final round, and physically it appears that Lopez is just appearing to wilt in the face of this searing intensity and this physicality being imposed by Josh Warrington here in the final round. His experience coming to the fore here, and Lopez is keen to cling on once again. Well, by employing that tactic of the 10-second clapper sounds, Lopez needs a knockout, and it's Josh Warrington getting onto the front foot, looking to let his hands go and crowd out the challenger. Warrington ending the contest on the front foot. He raises both arms immediately. Lopez sprints to his red corner on this near side of the ring and steps on the second rope before crossing himself and making his way back across to the blue corner where Josh Warrington celebrating with his team. For my money, it is Josh Warrington who has now been chaired aloft by one of his corner team who has successfully retained his title, but it was a close, scrappy, physical affair, and it's Josh Warrington who is taking the plaudits of his beloved hometown fans here in Leeds here at the conclusion of a hard-fought, physical, attritional 12-round contest for the IBF Featherweight Championship of the World. Barry Jones, how do you see that one?
I think those last two rounds were really important there for Warrington. He needed those rounds for me to win the fight, and it might have just been enough for him. It was that sort of fight, wasn't it? Every round was just so hardly fought that it was a nip and tuck round. Was it the busier work of Warrington with the straighter punches, or the more erratic but more powerful work there of Alberto Lopez? It seems to be that ultimately, at the end, that championship experience, resolve, and just sheer toughness of Warrington probably just got him over the line there, Ronald.
Well, Lopez is walking around the ring like he's a champion. He's having a face-off chat to Warrington, talking about these low blows to the back of the glute and the back of the leg, but none of it really makes any difference at all. It's pointless talking. Just talk to Eddie Hearn there, but I think when you look at it from an outside point of view, and if you're going to score it from a layman's point of view, if you don't know anything about boxing, and two people there have had a fight this evening, I think Josh Warrington won the fight. I think he was busier, he was landing more shots. Don't get me wrong, his face is marked up. It was a scrappy, horrible, messy affair. And Lopez had his moments, but he didn't come and do enough to take the title off the champion, in my opinion. I think Josh Warrington fought a great fight. He made it rough and tough in there because Lopez is very capable, he's very good, and he's very awkward. He's not a big puncher, and I think that's where he's just falling short at world-class level. With that style, I think you need to be a banger. And he's not a big puncher, he's got a 50% knockout ratio, and it's not enough to strut around the ring throwing them elusive shots when you're not having a big effect on your opponent. I think Josh Warrington fought a great fight and deserves to retain his title, and I think he will do.
I would say, Cal, and for the fear of disagreeing with a Hall of Famer like yourself, I don't think you should have to do more to take the title away from the champion. I think you should. No, you are the champion, but the wrong should be scored.
I disagree. We saw it with Catterall and Josh Taylor. I think Catterall threw it away in the last few rounds.
But that's
controversial. The champion comes here with the belt. He retains it in that kind of style. He deserves to keep it. Lopez was lazy.
But you can't score a fight. You cannot score a fight.
Well, I've scored the fight for Warrington.
No. I don't argue that you go Warrington winning. That's fair enough. You can't score the fight because you're the champion. You have to do more to take from the champion. It's on the merit of each round, regardless who the fighters are.
Absolutely, that's how it should be. But
please don't hit me.
In professional boxing, that's not how it is.
Well, both boxers are standing either side of Bob Williams. The left hand of Josh Warrington is being held by Bob Williams' right arm. The right arm of the challenger Lopez is being held by the left hand of Bob Williams. The IBF belt, well, where will that end up tonight? For my money, I think Warrington has done enough. The IBF belt behind referee Bob Williams. And David Diamante is in position. Let's get the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action here in Leeds, we go to the judges' scorecards. Howard Foster, 114 even. Mike Fitzgerald and Adam Height both scored this bout 115 to 113 for your winner by majority decision. And the new IBF featherweight champion of the world, Luis Alberto El Venado Lopez.
Well, the first direct arena has fallen into a stunned silence because their beloved hometown hero, Josh Warrington, has been dethroned by way of a majority decision. Mike Fitzgerald and Adam Height scoring it 115-113 in favor of the challenger. Howard Foster had it dead level at 114 apiece. And Josh Warrington falls to defeat for the first time here in his hometown. His 17th fight here in Leeds tonight. He had yet to experience defeat in front of his fervent hometown fans, but that is what he has experienced here as he aimed to defend his title for the first time in his second reign. The second reign proves to be a short-lived one because Luis Alberto Lopez has arrived here in Leeds and dethroned Josh Warrington by way of a majority decision. He's got the IBF strap placed firmly around his waist, and he has sunk to his knees in celebration, overcome with emotion at having been crowned the new IBF featherweight champion of the world. We pose the question whether an unheralded Mexican would arrive here in the UK and derail Josh Warrington, just as Mauricio Lara did down at Wembley behind closed doors during lockdown. And that is what has transpired here tonight. Josh Warrington disbelieving over in his red corner, while Luis Alberto Lopez flat out on his back, draped in a Mexican flag at having been crowned the new IBF featherweight king.
That's unbelievable scenes, isn't it? And it was that sort of fight. They're probably going to get now as people going, he didn't deserve this, he didn't deserve that. In a close fight, you can't argue who becomes the winner. I think, and it is it's not what you like, but there was the sheer weight of the shots from Lopez for me, and the sheer work rate from Warrington. And I can understand why the judges did rate the Lopez's more heavier shots. But you know, and those sort of rounds, they can be very subjective.
And there is no disputing it was a very close fight. I've got Warrington winning it 116-112, which means Warrington won it by 4 rounds on my card. Now that's 4 very, very close rounds. If they either gone the other way, all of a sudden Lopez wins the fight by 4. I mean, this was a fight that could have gone either way. I thought Warrington did enough to win. I said as the champion, which you argued, and it turns out that Lopez, actually, the referee and the judges, Howard Foster had it a draw, 114-114. That's how close it was. The other 2 judges gave it by 1 round, 115-113. That's a 1-round swing there for a draw. So that's how close this fight was. You can't really argue. Lopez was flash, he was accurate at times. He's not really that marked. Have a look at Josh Warrington's face. He's swelled up here, top of the forehead, around the cheeks. I think Warrington did enough to win that fight. I'm not going to argue. But you can see with boxing, it's a subjective sport. It can be frustrating and annoying. You can't argue with the 3 judges at ringside because they know what they're looking at.
No, I scored it a level, and I don't like that because you get embarrassed because you want to have a clear winner. But I think it was that, for me, it was that sort of fight. I think the strong finish from Warrington suggested to me maybe he would have done enough and he'll get the win being at home because the crowd cheer every time he throws a punch, whether it lands or not. But the judges didn't see it that way. They were very objective, and I just thought he did enough to get over the line there for young Lopez.
So Lopez just being interviewed via his interpreter up in the middle of the boxing ring. So, an incredibly close contest, but Josh Warrington dethroned here on home turf. And so, again, it was only whispered around the fight this time, but there was talk of big unification fights and big nights abroad in Las Vegas. The way that he fought doesn't suggest for a moment that he overlooked Luis Alberto Lopez. But again, all of those fights now up in smoke because he's no longer the champion. Well,
best laid plans, isn't it? It's always this quite often happens way too often. You would feel, but and that's the problem. Though, he had that in the City Ground with Lee Wood. That was a big fight. He'd been talking about going to Vegas. There were bucket lists that he always wanted to tick. And all of a sudden now, and this, by the way, this was a mandatory, so there's no rematch clause in this for him. He has to earn his way back to get another shot at this, or he goes into the Lee Wood fight as a challenger. And that affects his potential for earning. So it's going to be the landscape for Josh Warrington now at this stage of his career is, I would say, a worrying one. He's still a world-class fighter, but the pulling power now without the title is massively reduced. And so where does he go? He doesn't want to go to Lee Wood with a begging bowl. He wanted to go to Lee Wood thinking he was still the A side. Now that's changed for him.
And Carl, at this stage of his career, we hope to get a word with Josh Warrington before we go off air here tonight. But at this stage of his career, Carl, how big a challenge is it going to represent to Josh Warrington to get back in line? Unless he gets a direct tilt at Lee Wood, but to get back in line and work his way through back into contender status once again. 32 years of age, so long as a professional. How deeply is that desire still going to burn to get back to the top of the mountain?
Well, only you can answer that. Is the desire there? But that's a devastating loss. At 32 years old, that's the last thing he needed. I mean, he's got to now rebuild. Nobody's going to give Josh Warrington a voluntary defence because he's tough, he's rough, he's rugged, he comes to win, he's fit for 12 rounds. And he's a very good fighter. He's an excellent fighter, and why would you give him a shot unless he becomes a mandatory? And I don't think any of the champions in that division are going to really pay him any interest. So it's a bad loss for him, and it's a rebuilding process now for him. And then it questions what desire does he have left. I mean, that's going to strip a lot from him. He was convinced he won that, and it was very close, but one that maybe I thought he should have won. My scores card certainly suggests it, so maybe I need to stand by my conviction and say Warrington won the fight. I just don't like to bring boxing into disrepute. I don't like people to think that somebody's been robbed, because I don't like all that around this wonderful sport. It is a subjective way we score the rounds. It's a 10-point must system, and when rounds are close, it's difficult. But I did think Warrington won. But to answer your question, it's a very, very difficult ladder back for him. It's a hard climb for him. He's got to rebuild now, and at 32 years old, being involved in the fights he's had, is he going to want that? I'm not sure. He looks devastated.
Well, you said, will any of the champions want to go near him? I sort of know one guy who's crazy enough to fancy that, and he's from your city.
Yeah, well, Lee Wood, exactly. I mean, there's a fight, but if Josh Warrington's not mandatory, then will that fight happen? Lee Wood seeing it tonight and thinks to himself, is there more money for the Leo Santa Cruz fight? Is there bigger names out there for me? You know, glitzy lights in Vegas maybe? Or does he want to risk fighting a domestic rival with someone who's rough, tough and comes to win when really there's nothing for him to gain? Lee Wood's, you know, he's WBA champion. Is he going to want to put that up against Josh Warrington in a fight that, you know, potentially could lose?
Yep, Lee Wood in the building here tonight. He was our colleague on BBC Radio a couple of weeks ago. Said that he hopes to be back in action in the new year, but he's the WBA regular champion. He's got ambitions to ram out the city ground, talent-laden featherweight division. Of course, Leo Santa Cruz still holding the WBA title hostage. He's not fought at 126 pounds since February 2019, coming on for 4 years, having been up at 130 pounds super featherweight. But Emmanuel Navarrete, the WBO champ, Ray Vargas of Mexico, took the O of Mark Magsayo in July. So it's a talent-laden, red-hot featherweight division. But as you guys have been suggesting, Lee Wood aside perhaps, ramming out the city ground, who is going to want to take on a determined, well-conditioned Josh Warrington if they don't have to?
See, when he's champion, there's pulling power because he has something you want. He has a championship of the world, and he fills the stadium, he fills arenas. So you go to him because he's a ticket seller. He's an earner for you to get that fight. Now, I think he still sells tickets, but he doesn't have that what you want. So like, I think Carl's right. If he doesn't have what you want, why would you want to fight him? It's no, unless the money's fantastic. That's the only thing that's going to change people's minds. I think Lee Wood would happen. They don't want anyone to fight anybody, but the money's going to have to be exceptional, which means Josh Warrington, for the first time in his career, is going to have to be financially the B-side. Now, how is he at this age and what he's done in his career and the money he's earned, certainly in the latter half, is he going to accept that? I'm not quite sure.
Well, Josh Warrington applauding the fans who have remained in attendance here at the First Direct Arena. Those who are still in the building, up on their feet, sportingly applauding Josh Warrington. He looks absolutely crestfallen, but he has generously made his way over to the neutral corner on this near side of the ring. So let's get his post-fight thoughts now as he speaks to Manveer Rai. Manveer, it's over to you.
Well, Josh, a tough night tonight. Do you feel hard done by?
Listen, I understand the fight was close. Fight was close in stages. It started off like a train. It kept on coming forward. I think I was a little bit conscious of me drawing in first 4 rounds. Obviously, I settled into it, started getting his rhythm. His work rate went down for me, like massively. You know, I kept on working inside. Listen, it's a fight at 3 ranges: long range, mid range, short range. I was working a lot inside. I could hear him wincing constantly to body. All he keeps on doing is, you know, wanting to referee. Yeah, we had a clash of heads. There seems to be stigma that I'm a dirty fighter. No, I'm fighting close, and you know things happen. Heads going, you know, punches get caught short. But I hurt him to the body at one point, and then you know he took a punch to the leg, and it made a proper meal of it. And I'm surprised Bob let him have so long to recover. You know, it's a mandatory 5 minutes, but yeah, I'm just devastated. I thought like towards the back end, all he wanted to do for the last 2 rounds is hold. Hindsight, I might look back and think, oh, I could have done a little bit more. I should have worked a little bit harder. But like I say, I kept on hurting him, and all he wanted to do was hold.
There seemed to be a lot of dialogue between the two of you when you were in clinches and breaking and the referee breaking. What was he saying to you? Could you understand what he was saying to you?
Not really. Just like kept on saying vamos, 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 and like Thomas was trying to wind me up, get under my skin. That's it. They were just little bits of complaining to the referee, really. Like, you know, and then they come on, let's fight. Every time we did get into fighting range, all we wanted to do was hold, like I say. You know, he talks about being a Mexican. Yeah, he's all right throwing punches, but it's a fight of different ranges. You can't just hold when you're close, so I'm dead. It's finished. I thought that, you know, another referee might have penalised on him, but what can I do?
Well, Josh, commiserations tonight. Thank you for talking with us on 5 Live. All the best, heal up, see you next year. Okay, thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Eddie,
so, Josh Warrington, understandably devastated at having lost his IBF featherweight title here on home turf. Going to head back up to Manveer Rai now, who's speaking with tonight's promoter, Eddie Hearn.
Eddie, Josh, he loses tonight in front of his fans here in Leeds. Can I just get your immediate thoughts to the result, and did you agree with the decision?
I thought it was a fight of two halves. You know, Lopez started very well, built up a nice lead, and then I think tried to coast through the fight, and Josh's pressure, you know, won him the back end of the fight. I had him winning at least 3 of the last 4 rounds. But honestly, like 114, 114, 115, 113, I thought Josh could have just nicked it, but it was a very close fight, a lot of close rounds. I know Mr. Froch had Josh Warrington winning, but sometimes the Twitter sphere go against the home fighter sometimes in a weird way. But actually, it was a fight that could have gone either way, and it was a high-level fight. Lopez is a very good fighter, very tricky fighter, not a guy that you're going to be queuing up to fight. I think he could be around for a long time, and I thought Josh did well trying to find a way into the fight, fought his way into the fight, and controlled the back end of the fight.
Josh was saying there, he started off slow but then got into the fight more and more. Did you think he deserved to win that fight, Eddie, overall? I know you said, you know, in terms of the rounds and everything, but did you think he was a clear winner?
No, I don't think there was a clear winner either way. There never is when it's 115, 113, and you know, there's a lot of close rounds. It depends what you like. Lopez had the flashier work. His body punching was sensational in the early part of the fight, but in the back end of the fight, he didn't really do a lot. Josh Warrington had all the aggression in the fight. Like I said, definitely won 9, 11, 12, might have won 10 as well. And if he wins 10, you're giving him 4 rounds off the bat already. So it's difficult not to give him a piece of the fight, but a very close fight. I think it's one of those fights that can go either way, and I felt he edged it, but no complaints.
Last one from me then. What is next for Josh Warrington? Where does he go from here?
Do you know what? There's a couple of things that he wanted to do. One was to unify. Obviously, you can't do that with a belt. But the other thing was to have a big fight in America. I feel like that was an elite level performance. It wasn't a performance that says Josh Warrington's fading. You know, he just fought a very good fighter tonight. So for me, I'd still like to deliver that American fight for his fans. Maybe still a Lee Wood fight, a City Ground. Looks like Lee Wood's going to fight Maurizio Lara now, which is a tremendous fight. And if he comes through that, why not do Josh Warrington at the City Ground again, you know? So personally, I think he's still an elite featherweight, but obviously it was a tough fight. He's got to sit down with his family and see where he goes from here.
Eddie, I appreciate your time as always.
Thank you very much indeed, Manvia. The thoughts of tonight's promoter, Eddie Hearn, conceding that it was a very close fight. Before we sign off, Barry, Carl, your closing thoughts at the conclusion of this night, where Josh Warrington has been dethroned in his hometown. Barry, first of all.
It was always a potential banana skin, but one that we thought that, you know, with the work ethic that Warrington has, and the fact that he always keeps his shape against an erratic opponent, he would be able to do enough to get over the line. He almost did. It was close, but I got no argument with who won the fight tonight.
Yeah, I think that Josh Warrington can feel a little bit hard done to tonight. He's in his hometown, he's champion, and he's fought hard there against a very awkward fighter in Lopez, who looked at times like he didn't want to be in there. He was complaining, he was turning his back, and his work rate faded off towards the end. In the championship round, you know, Josh Warrington really finished strong and made sure that he sprinted through the finish line. And I just think he got his nose in front, and he should have walked away the victor this evening. So if he does feel hard done to, I can see why, and I kind of agree with people that would say that Josh Warrington was really unfortunate to not get the decision tonight. But it's professional boxing. We've seen it time and time again. I'm sure we'll see it more often in close fights. And don't make no mistake, that was a very close fight. These fights can go either way, and tonight that one went for Lopez. And like Eddie Hearn said there, I think we'll see a lot more of him because he's a very, very good talent.
So, the closing thoughts of Barry Jones and Carl Froch from the First Direct Arena here at Leeds, where in many respects it's a case of history repeating itself, because for the second time in the career of Josh Warrington, an unheralded, unfamiliar Mexican has come over and inflicted defeat. Josh Warrington falling to 31-2, along with that technical draw against Maurizio Lara. But here at the First Direct Arena, which previously has been an impenetrable fortress for the Leeds Warrior, he has lost his title on a majority decision, and so we have a new IBF featherweight champion of the world, and that is Luis Alberto Lopez from Mexico. For the entire team here, Barry Jones, Carl Froch, Manvir Ryan, our producer Patrick Whiteside, it just remains for me, Ronald McIntosh, to say thank you very much indeed for staying with us. Stay across the BBC Sport website for all the latest news, updates and information across the entire sport of boxing, and we'll see you again very soon from the First Direct Arena. Bye for now.